Hey everyone, buckle up because the last couple days, absolute chaos in crypto land. Two monster stories just exploded onto the scene, and XRP is right in the crosshairs, especially with story number one. This one's a doozy. So the SEC, yeah, those guys, they've gone ahead and ordered the withdrawal of Xrp Etf filings. Just straight up ordered it. Wild, right? Now, shout out to Eleanor Terrett, former Fox Business reporter. She's the one who unleashed this bomb on us. And I'm telling you, the internet went absolutely bananas. Her post on X, try 1 million views in like 24 hours. That's insane. But here's where things get spicy. Some folks saw this news and their hearts just sank. Meanwhile, other people, they're popping champagne bottles and doing victory dances. Now, you might be scratching your head thinking, okay, what's going on here? Because and both sides, XRP holders, like die-hard XRP fans. Same coin, same community, but it's like they're watching two completely different movies. I mean, how is that even possible, right? That's exactly what we need to dig into. Let's clear this mess up. All right, let me just say this right up front, because I know a bunch of you are probably freaking out right now. You're seeing headlines like, SEC orders XRP ETF filings withdrawn, and you're thinking, wait, hold on, that's terrible news. We want an XRP ETF, right? I get it. The headline sounds scary. And yeah, technically, it's accurate. But here's the thing. This is actually good news, like really good news. What's happening here is the whole process is getting streamlined. They're making it more efficient, more straightforward. And honestly, what just went down actually increases the chances, like by a lot, that these things are going to get approved. I'm about to blow your mind here. Look at this headline. It's from the Crypto Basic. XRP ETF approval odds are now essentially 100%. Here's why. And listen, this isn't coming from some random guy on Twitter with a laser-eyed profile pic, okay? This is a Bloomberg ETF analyst. Like, imagine waking up every single day and your entire job is just analyzing ETFs. That's this guy. He lives and breathes this stuff. And he just took the odds, which were already sitting pretty high, and we'll talk about those numbers in a sec, and he cranked them all the way up to 100%. Full send. And from what I've seen, I don't even think this analyst is out here waving XRP flags and pumping bags, you know? But he still made this call. That tells me he's just calling it like he sees it, being completely intellectually honest. This man genuinely thinks it's happening. Oh, and then we've got this gem. US SEC takes preliminary step to expand universe of crypto custody to state trusts. Now, big picture, this is phenomenal for the entire crypto space. Everyone wins. But, and this is important, as you're going to find out when we dig into this later, XRP holders especially should be doing a happy dance right now. All right, quick pause. Before we go any further, I got to throw out the disclaimer real quick. I have zero financial background. None. Zilch. So nothing I'm saying here is financial advice. Cool? So remember those XRP ETF launches everyone was buzzing about? Yeah, they got delayed. But wait, it gets even better. We're not just talking about the launches being pushed back. The actual decision, like the yes or no, are we doing this thing decision on approving these XRP ETFs, that's been delayed too. At least once. Maybe twice? Honestly, I'm pulling from memory here, so don't quote me on the exact number, but delays, oh yeah, those definitely happened. And look, if you're part of the XRP community, you're probably not exactly doing cartwheels about this news, right? Now, here's where things get spicy. Some people are looking at this and going, hold up, is the SEC playing their greatest hits album again? Because delaying stuff was literally their go-to move back in the Bitcoin ETF days, when firms were filing left and right before anything actually got approved. Think about it. Every time you delay a decision, you're basically playing hot potato with the whole situation. The SEC kicks that can down the road and boom, that firm, they're stuck waiting even longer before they can take another shot at filing. So really, it was this sneaky tactic to just do nothing. Here's what people are thinking. They already knew the Bitcoin ETF was getting rejected, and they're just playing this whole delay game, right? But guys, that is not the real story here. I've literally been screaming this from the rooftops for months and months and months now. The war on crypto in the United States, it's over. Done. Finished. XRP has legal clarity locked down, and XRP is crushing it as an early winner in the crypto space. Like, full stop. There's literally zero debate about this. So look, what I'm about to say is technically speculation, okay? But honestly, it's some pretty freaking solid speculation if you ask me. Here's what I think is really happening. The SEC's been stalling because they wanted to hammer out these generic listing standards first. Basically, creating a fast-track system for crypto ETF approvals down the line. And you know what? I'm feeling pretty confident that my theory's been dead on accurate this whole time. And hey, I'm not sitting here alone on an island with this take either. But yo, check this out. This headline from September 17th. I actually broke this down when it first hit. SEC approves generic listing standards for faster crypto ETF approvals. Okay, so the moment I read this, I literally got goosebumps because in my head, I'm like, holy crap, we're finally inching toward those XRP ETFs becoming a reality. So here's the deal with what the SEC is actually doing. They're basically organizing their entire playbook, right? They're tired of this chaotic mess where Bitcoin gets one rule book, Ethereum gets another, and everything else is just, who knows? When they could literally just swoop in, clean up this massive confusion we've had for the last, 10, 11 years that crypto's been a thing, actually give us some real clarity for once, and then start green-lighting coins left and right. And honestly, I'm pretty convinced that's the exact game plan unfolding right now, which explains this headline that left some folks scratching their heads. And hey, totally fair if people were confused. But then, yesterday, this bombshell lands. SEC tells issuers to pull 19 B-4s. ETFs could be approved absurdly fast. Eleanor Tarrant dropped a post yesterday that absolutely blew up with 1 million views in just one day. I mean, that's wild, right? And here's what she wrote that got everyone talking. Scoop, the SEC has asked issuers of Litecoin, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and Doge ETFs to withdraw their 19 B-4 filings. Why? Because they just approved these generic listing standards that basically make those old filings unnecessary. Oh, and these withdrawals could literally start happening this week. Now, when you first read that, especially if you haven't been following this whole saga, you're probably sitting there going, hold up. What does any of this actually mean? What even are generic listing standards? And honestly, I totally get why tons of people are asking, wait, is this good news or bad news? A totally fair question, my friend. But here's the deal. It's good news. Like, seriously, good news. Here's the thing. These generic listing standards, they're actually what needed to happen before the SEC could approve all these ETFs, including those XRP ETFs everyone's been waiting for. That's literally it. And honestly, that's what I've been saying all along. So let me break this down a little more, because Eleanor got flooded with comments from people going, hold up, wait, is this actually good news or bad news? So here's what Eleanor Tarrant jumped back online to tell us. Just a few hours later, she dropped this update saying, okay, for everyone asking if withdrawal is sketchy, here's the deal. Short answer, nope, not at all. Long answer though? So 2 weeks back, the SEC gave the green light to these generic listing standards, right? And that basically killed off the whole requirement for exchanges to submit those 19 B-4 forms every single time they wanted to list a token ETF. Huge win, makes everything simpler and way faster. What this really shows us is that the new system's actually doing its job. As long as these tokens check all the boxes, the SEC can literally approve a crypto ETF whenever they feel like it. Just needs an S1 filing. So even though we've got these deadlines breathing down our necks for specific ETFs, the SEC could technically drop a decision on any of these, or heck, all of them, whenever they want. So listen, you could literally wake up tomorrow, or honestly even later today, scroll through the news and boom, XRP ETF approved just like that. These firms don't have to jump through those hoops anymore. That's exactly why they're pulling these applications back. This isn't some doom and gloom situation. The SEC isn't sitting there going, yeah, withdraw those because we're shutting this whole thing down. No, no, no. That's completely backwards from what's actually happening here. What they're really saying is, hey, you know what? You don't even need to mess with these ridiculous forms anymore. We actually solved the issue. Now all you need is this one simple S1 filing form. And that's it. No more insane timelines to stress about. No more ticking clock that starts the second you file. We can literally just approve it whenever we're ready. This whole thing's designed to speed up the process. That's literally the entire point of this change. And that's exactly why you're seeing headlines like this pop up everywhere. XRP ETF approval odds have basically shot up to 100%. Here's the deal. And look, I need to emphasize something. This is all going down right when everyone's expecting XRP to literally explode as we push into the final stretch of this market cycle. This is yet another piece of the puzzle, story-wise, that could genuinely ignite things in the best possible way. The match that starts the wildfire. I'm not kidding, guys. We've witnessed this before. The freshest example that immediately pops into my head when I'm talking about this whole concept is when Gary Gensler, back in late November, announced he'd be stepping down as SEC chair because obviously, there's a change in administration happening. And then he kept pushing it back until literally the final day, right? But when that actually went down, that wasn't even XRP-specific news. And XRP already had its legal clarity sorted out. But that announcement, down to the exact minute, you can pull up the chart yourself. XRP just started absolutely ripping. So look, sometimes news events genuinely make stuff happen in real time. Now, here's the thing. XRP had already made some moves, and honestly, I still believe it would have taken off no matter what Gensler decided to do. Like for me, that just feels pretty obvious. But hey, I'll give credit where it's due. It was definitely the catalyst that kicked things into gear. Well, same story here. I think XRP rockets way, way, way higher this market cycle anyway. No question. I'm just pointing out this could be the spark that actually gets the party started. Look, here's the thing. You don't always need some big catalyst to get things rolling, right? Sometimes the market just moves when the conditions are right. That's really what I'm getting at here. So, who's making these bold predictions? We're talking about Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg, the ETF analyst guy. And he's basically saying the chances of getting approval for multiple crypto ETFs, including XRP-focused ones, are practically guaranteed now. Like, we're talking 100% here, folks. Now check this out. Eric Balchunas, who's the senior ETF analyst over at Bloomberg, just dropped this news to his massive following of 369,000 people. He literally reshared that same story from Eleanor Tarrant that I just walked you through moments ago. So Eric drops this comment like, yo, nice scoop from Eleanor here. And he's breaking it down. This whole thing? Yeah, we kind of saw it coming from a mile away. It actually makes total sense because guess what? Those pesky 19B-4 filings, not even necessary anymore now that we're living in this wild post-GLS era. Oh, and GLS? That's your generic listing standards universe we've entered, my friends. The only curveball left? Nobody's quite cracked the code on how this launch schedule is going to shake out yet. But stay tuned. More juicy details are dropping soon. Now, this is where things get spicy. Someone in the comments absolutely roasts him. They're like, hold up. You thought this could happen? Bruh, then why'd you suddenly jack up those approval odds to 90 to 95%? Make it make sense. And they're throwing shade about this whole situation I broke down for you guys before. Rewind to the tail end of June this year. So there was this bombshell story. Eric Balchunas from Cointelegraph is out here dropping absolute fire, okay? And then James Seifert, the Bloomberg ETF wizard, he jumps in and he's basically like, yeah, what Eric said. They both just went full send on raising the XRP approval odds. And guys, this is the juicy part. They did this before the whole generic listing standards situation exploded onto the scene just 2 weeks ago. But wait, it gets better. Rewind to late June, these guys were already putting their necks on the line, going public with a bold 95% probability for XRP ETF approval. I mean, come on, that's basically saying, pack your bags, we're going to the moon, right? So naturally, the crypto Twitterverse is losing its mind asking, Eric, my dude, what made you pump those numbers? Everyone's hitting him up like, yo, why'd you jack up the odds from 90 straight to 95% on these ETF approvals? And Eric, this legend comes back with the most casual flex ever. He's like, look, let's be real here. We're talking 100% odds now, folks. Why? Because those generic listing standards basically nuked the entire 19B-4 process and made the countdown clock completely pointless. Now we're literally just twiddling our thumbs, waiting for corporate finance to rubber stamp those S1 forms. Oh, and plot twist, they literally just dropped amendment number 4 for Solana yesterday. So think of it like this. The baby could literally show up any second now. So you better have that hospital bag packed and ready to roll. And honestly, that's exactly where we're at with XRP right now. Actually, scratch that. It's the same vibe for literally any ETF that's been in the pipeline. Because guess what changed everything? Those generic listing standards, baby. And here's what really blew my mind. This wasn't just some campaign talk to win votes. He genuinely went all in. Like, he's even more pro-crypto than I expected. And trust me, I was pretty darn optimistic going in. Whew. When they say he's leaning into crypto, that's an understatement. So guys, this headline just hit and I have to talk about it. USSEC takes preliminary step to expand universe of crypto custody to state trusts. Eleanor Terrence was literally live tweeting this as it unfolded. We're talking hot off the press today, right now kind of news. All right, so here's the tea. The SEC just dropped what's called a no action letter. Now, I know that sounds super boring and bureaucratic, but stay with me because this is actually fire. They're basically giving the thumbs up for investment advisors to use state-chartered trust companies as qualified custodians for crypto. But wait, you're probably thinking, what does that even mean? Great question. Let me paint you a picture. There's this ancient law, and I mean ancient, like 1940, called the Investment Advisors Act. It says if you're managing people's money, you've got to park their assets with a qualified custodian. Think big banks, trust companies with those fancy national fiduciary powers. The old guard, the traditional gatekeepers. But here's where things get spicy. This brand new guidance, it's basically the SEC saying, hey advisors, hey registered funds, you can totally use state trust companies to hold crypto now. We're cool with it. The doors just got blown wide open. We really needed this extra clarity, right? Because not everyone was on the same page about whether state-chartered trust companies could actually hold crypto assets. I actually spoke with Brian Daly. He's the director of the SEC's Division of Investment Management, and he broke it down for me. With this brand new staff guidance, state-chartered trust companies can finally qualify to custody crypto as long as investment advisors do their homework and decide it's what's best for their clients. So you're probably wondering, why should we even care about this? Now, listen closely here because this is going to be absolutely incredible news for XRP holders. Ripple is deeply embedded in this entire space. And here's what you need to know. XRP is literally the heartbeat of everything Ripple does. I mean, they hold more XRP than any other entity or individual on this entire planet. That's just obvious, right? So Eleanor points out something crucial here. This opens the door. Why does this actually matter? Well, buckle up, because it's literally blowing the doors wide open for way more players to flood into the crypto custody market. And here's where it gets really juicy. Funds now have this massive access to park their crypto with powerhouse names like Coinbase, Ripple through Standard Custody, BitGo, WisdomTree, and honestly, a whole bunch of others who are finally getting the stamp of approval as qualified custodians. I mean, talk about a game changer. And wait until you hear what Daly dropped on me next. This quote is absolutely golden. This is a staff letter. So at some point, this topic could be addressed by future rulemaking. We believe the market will benefit from having this guidance for today's products, today's managers, and today's issues. End quote right there. So pinch me because the SEC has literally, and I mean literally, magically become our friend overnight. And look, let's call it what it is. This whole transformation happened because the entire leadership got flipped from the top all the way down. So yeah, am I going to celebrate this? You better believe I will absolutely take that victory. Dude, this is insane. Like, they're genuinely going all in on pro-crypto policies, and I am here for it. This is exactly what we needed. So check this out. Our portfolios are sitting prettier right now than they ever would have been if things went differently. And guess what? We're just getting warmed up here. All this potential, right? Everything crypto promised us, which, yeah, it still hasn't totally delivered yet because let's be real, we're still in the early chapters of this story, even though Bitcoin's been around for like 16 years at this point. But that's exactly my point. We're early enough that I can look you dead in the eye and say, you're early. And look, I truly believe this in my bones. Anyone jumping into crypto right now is positioned to make generational wealth. Whatever the entire crypto market is valued at today, that's pocket change compared to what's coming down the pipeline. All that promise crypto held, all the stuff we've been saying it should be able to do, you're actually watching it come to life now. Like, even back in 2017, people were already geeking out about how it'd make total sense to tokenize real-world assets on the XRP ledger and other blockchains. I actually remember making videos about this exact topic on my channel back in the 2018 to 2019 days. But it really wasn't happening yet. There were basically no companies actually doing this stuff. Like, sure, there were some random outlier cases here and there. I think back in 2015, some company tokenized gold on the XRP ledger, but honestly, I can't even remember their name anymore, or whether they're still around, or if it was just this flash in the pan experiment. You know what I mean? There were these scattered instances popping up. Listen, we're at this insane inflection point right now where everything's just taking off. You can literally see it happening. The writing's on the wall, folks. The whole game is shifting right before our eyes. Here's the thing. Pretty much every financial asset out there, it should be tokenized on a blockchain. I mean, think about it. And here's where it gets really exciting. The blockchains that have those native coins built in, oh man, those coins are about to explode in value. Like, seriously skyrocket. Why? Because you literally need those coins to make all this magic happen. That's just one example, right? But obviously we're going to see way more adoption of programmable money, smart contracts, all that revolutionary stuff. Picture this, money streaming in real time, just like you stream your favorite shows on Netflix today. There's so much more coming, people. Now look, a lot of this still needs to be built out, I'll be honest with you. But here's the difference. It's actually happening now. And when you've got a government that's actually friendly to all of this, man, that's when things really take off. We're talking about innovation happening way faster than anyone ever imagined possible. Look, we've hit this incredible tipping point where there's just no going back. It's become so crystal clear that even the US government, we're talking about the biggest capital market on the entire planet here, they've finally admitted it. You can't put this genie back in the bottle anymore. And the United States government doesn't even want to. They never will again. So here's what we want as crypto believers, and especially us in the XRP community. We want to see XRP recognized as what it truly is. I'll say it loud and clear. An early winner in the crypto revolution. This thing's only going to become more and more valuable as time goes on. Now sure, it's not going to shoot up in some perfect straight line. That's not how markets work. But as long as it keeps solving real problems for real people and actual businesses, yeah, you better believe it's here to stay, my friends. Man, I mean, come on, that's just a no-brainer, right? Like, we're witnessing a fundamental shift happening right before our eyes here. And yeah, it's pretty dang obvious we picked the winner, folks. Look, I've got to tell you, this is ridiculously exciting for me personally. Getting to watch all of this unfold in real time is just incredible. Especially when you consider I've been tracking what's happening in crypto and specifically the XRP ecosystem literally every single day for almost a decade now. To actually see it unfolding the way so many of us in the XRP community have been dreaming about for years and years and years, I mean, seriously, there are people who believe this could happen way before I even knew XRP existed. We're talking years before that. People who had the vision to see this type of thing could actually become reality. You know what really gets me? It's wild to think about those OG pioneers, the real day one legends of the XRP community and ecosystem who were out there grinding and building this thing up, making it so compelling that when someone like me showed up to the party, I took one look and went, okay, I'm all in. And now we get to sit back and realize that all those brilliant minds from the ancient days of crypto, I'm talking 2013, 2014 era, they absolutely crushed it. They were spot on. The crazy part is, from where they were standing, it's taken over a freaking decade, because here we are rolling into 2025 to reach this moment where it's undeniable, where it's finally clicking for the traditional finance world. Like, they're finally going, oh, yeah, you guys were right, and it is obvious now. I always had this feeling it would play out like one of those classic scenarios where, Looking back with 2020 hindsight, everyone goes, well, duh, that was so obvious, but here's what matters. We called it, folks. We absolutely called it. Look, our community absolutely crushed it over 10 years ago. And honestly, I think that's incredibly cool, which means, yeah, XRP holders are going to benefit from this too. But here's what really gets me excited. Having the SEC actually on our side for once. Man, what a difference a year makes, you know? I mean, we're talking night and day compared to where we were just 12 months ago. Seriously, it's almost unbelievable. Thank goodness, right? Now listen, real quick, I've got to say this. I'm not a financial advisor whatsoever. Please don't go buying or selling anything just because I'm talking about it, okay?